So when we're all ready, can I just say the audience has grown a lot since the forum, which is, it's AGM time, so we don't always expect a great big turnout. So, you know, not a lot of people, as I say, are excited with AGM. So thank you to those people who have come along tonight, and lovely. So it should be quite brief tonight. So we've got an AGM meeting, and then it's a very, very brief meeting that follows that as well. So let's go first of all. Item number 1 on the agenda is a welcoming notice, and that's just me welcoming you. And just to notice that we're going to be handing over to the lovely Janice at the back there from the council, who's going to independently chair, you know, the AGM, you know, the election part, and that will happen further down the agenda. So number 2 is apologies.
President, I'm correct.
Apologies.
Usual apologies from Stuart? Yes.
Stuart's apologies. Super. Lovely. Moving to number 3 is adoption of the minutes from the last AGM. Now, as you can see, it's not a big sheet. So unless anybody's got okay.
Before you adopt it, just a small a typo.
AGM?
I thought it was back at school because it should be I comes before except after C.
Yeah, exactly.
Which document is that?
The minutes for the last meeting.
AGM.
Oh, right, okay, not AGM, no, the September meeting.
And which paragraph?
The first one.
First paragraph.
Many folks mentioned.
That's fine. We'll absolutely put that in there. That's lovely. Is that it? Yeah. That's super. That's a proofreader, good proofreader, always undervalued. So thank you. Apart from that, we can agree the AGM minutes.
The AGM minutes.
Yeah.
Right, so maybe better person saying that.
Yes. So I have a proposer, thank you. That's lovely. That's, sorry, apologies, I went through this my headline that way first, apologies. Hamish, and then seconded by Danny. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Okay. So what happens, for anyone not familiar with Community Council AGMs, you then get just a few reports from the outgoing, you know, office. And so the first one at item 4 is myself. And you will see that there's a written chair report circulated. So I'm just going to drill out just a couple of things. And the first thing is to say thanks to all the community councillors. And as is highlighted on the actual report, we really do try to work as an equally valued team, because everybody around this table has got diverse and quite unique skills. And we can all do our different parts, and we all take, you know, different policy areas and so on. So it's a great team. Everybody's volunteers. I'm so thankful for Andrew as well as vice chairman. He's actually chaired, you know, for me at times as well, really competently. So it's been a good team, and we're really grateful in Gourock for that. You know, for people over their time like this and volunteer. In terms of the community engagement, I hope you've seen from the beginning, over the past year, we are trying to reach a greater diversity of Gourock's people. And not everybody likes to come to a meeting. So we're doing things like school visits, you know, we're going to be doing more school visits, going to some organisations. We're going to get a farmer's market stall, and we've had stalls at events already and so on. Trying to encourage more social media. We've got a new website. So more of that in the way forward to try and make sure this is accessible to everyone, because the role of a community council, again, I'm conscious that not everybody in the room is really familiar with the work of community councils, but the role of a community council, we're not a social enterprise, we're not a charity, we are here and elected to ensure that Gourock's voice, the people of Gourock's voice, is heard and influences decisions getting made. So that could be at local level, it could be at national level, and we try and take that responsibility as far as we can take it. And I think it really showed with the Giants Burn Wind Farm. You know, that's across there, it affects our views, but it's actually shared issues that affect us all in Scotland about, you know, land, the protection of land and wildlife and so on. So we take the role as far as we can, but it's not about us sitting in a wee corner in here making decisions. We've got to be sure and increasingly evidence what the people are actually wanting, the issues that are there, and to be accountable for them. And in terms of accountability, you'll see that what the systems we've kind of introduced is you're getting regularly that you said, excuse me if I was wrong, that you said we did track her. So that's keeping everybody up to date with progress and the next steps, and of course sometimes that progress can be extremely slow, as we've also noted. I just wanted to also say about children's rights and equality and women's rights in particular. We've been very, very active in that area. Children's rights are Scots law now, but they can't be realised without, everybody getting behind that. Same with women's equality and women's issues as well. You'll see we took up some serious issues, and we'll make no apology for continuing to do that in the future, because those need called out, and equality really, really matters, and the welfare of our children really matters too. But what we need to do as well is increasingly ensure all ages are there, and thinking as well as some of our elderly and some of those social isolation, all these different issues as well, and hopefully that we can implement. And the final thing really is that what is coming through, and you'll see that in this paper here, the top issues. This is just an kind of evolving organic piece of paper that's coming out of all of the engagement, the top issues, and create a more caring Gourock, ensuring Gourock's caring, ensuring it's safe, helping to be clean and keep it beautiful for people. Seems to be amongst the top issues. We've had some of those discussions here. So, that's been this year. We're thankful for it. We also are frustrated sometimes with the lack of progress, but never has there been a time in this wider environment for there to be more grassroots power and people's power as voices, and that's what we'll continue to do. So, that's me. I've talked too much as usual, so I'm going to hand over now to apologies. Questions? Any questions from the floor? The report as well. Feel free to ask any questions right now. This is the chair's report for questions. Seems nobody's got any questions, so we'll shout them. So, moving on to secretary's report. Oh, there you go.
The report should be...
Yes, proposed and seconded. I was going to actually do them all, but I think we'll do it individually. So, can I get somebody to propose the chair's report, please? That's Margaret. And can I get somebody to second? That's it, that was Susan. That's lovely. Thank you. Okay, item 5, moving on to the secretary's report.
Okay, I'm the secretary and I'm not quite so fluent in speaking with Alison this, so mine's all written down, you've all got a copy, so that should be pretty straightforward. So the role of the Secretary of the Community Council is mainly that of communication. This year I've prepared the agenda, take the minutes, manage Community Council's email addresses, welcome and visiting speakers, book our meeting venues, etc. I've managed the majority of the communication with our local schools, which has been really responsive actually, our local councillors, and communicated with our MP in Westminster and MSP Stuart McMillan. Managed many emails, calls and occasional meetings with officers from Inverclyde Council. The task is made a lot easier by the support of all the mentioned individuals and many more within their various team. It really would be too long a list to mention everybody that has been supporting us, and I think primarily the response from everybody has been very, very good. It might not be what we want to hear, but there are always a response from most of the people that we interact with, which is a great thing to experience. My thanks go to all of them for their patience over endless questions, last minute emails or WhatsApp messages for occasional timelines on time. Thanks, Anna. I got a note from earlier. The Constitution of the Gourock Community Council states we need to have at least 7 meetings per year, and this past season we did not hold meetings in December nor in July. The rest of the months we represent the community every month. Community councils occasionally meet for business meetings at irregular dates as and when required. In general, we feel that the meetings are well attended, and we value the regular attendance of our local councillors, our MSP, representation from our MP and from local council officers. We also welcome the local wardens who advise us on what their job entails and records any disturbances within our locality. They're a great service actually that I think we should appreciate more. Alison has touched on the many issues we've tackled this year. Most of these are raised at our forum when members of our community are welcome to bring to our attention something of interest. In our monthly meetings, we generate 2 or 3 focus items and we update these on our rolling tracker. Alongside our public meetings, we also have relatively thriving social media presence. At the last count, we had 2,980 followers. It would be pretty cool if we could hit 3,000 by the end of the year. It's only another 150. Yeah, it's only 20 people. Of the total views, 65% of these are from followers, which are people that have actually decided they want to follow us on social media. I've lost my track here. And the remaining 35% are non-followers, but individuals that are still looking at what we're up to, which I think is quite an interesting figure. Maybe we can convert these to followers. It sounds like a cult, but I mean, we can maybe get them there. Okay, interestingly, 70% are aged between 45 to 65, which I think basically follows basically what we've got in the room here, or maybe a few younger ones. So 70% are aged between 45 and 65, with the remaining being over 65. But for 35 below, we only have approximately 12%. Facebook is definitely a good source of communication for some, but we need to look at how we make contact with the younger members of the community, and at the other end of the spectrum are more elderly residents. For the younger community, we're trying to get the community on TikTok. I'll leave that up to others. Issues are often raised through social media messages and often through emails. We have recently launched our website. I spelled that wrong, Hamish. I'm sure you will. Website without any. Sorry. Many thanks to Andrew King and Julia for that, because I think it will make a big difference, particularly in the year going forward. We shall be promoting it more, and where all the minutes, agendas and topics of interest will be listed. Along with notices on various notice boards and at the health centre and libraries, we also rely on word of mouth to get our meetings known. We do appreciate the ongoing support from our local press and the many other community groups who share our messages. I'm nearly finished. In our mailbag, we receive all local planning applications for their building, licence applications and notes about processions or marches. These are often discussed at our meetings, and we note our interests or objections or support through the appropriate channels. This year we have supported other community councils with issues that concern them and that can affect Gourock. Notably the Giants Wind Farm, which you touched upon, Alison, and the initial discussions regarding town-to-town ferries. We are kept informed about intended roadworks and try and offer advice to communities should there be adverse weather, or remind our residents to support each other. We attend various meetings that we are invited to and try and support various local initiatives. We annually lay a wreath in memory of the fallen on Armistice Day and in memory of the fallen during the fighting at Ahi Baba. We attend the Gourock Heaven Games and of course manage the annual Gourock Garden Party. Up and coming, we hope to host a stall at the Farmers Market. Our chair, Alison, has been an unstinting support not only to our community but to all the community councillors, guiding us with encouragement and enthusiasm. And with her knowledge, we hope that Gourock is well presented within the community council network. Any questions?
I think TikTok. Yeah.
Geraldine paid for that out of her home.
Well, that should be reimbursed.
Yes.
Have you got a receipt for that?
No, I did at one point.
Where did you get it from?
And she did bells in the pick up this.
Okay, well if you can pick up the receipt then, or just speak to Margaret about that.
I did ask you to.
Right, so that can be sorted. We really appreciate you doing that. Okay, can that be proposed, please?
Yep.
Julia?
Second, thank you. Okay, thank you. Moving on to item number 6, and that is the Treasurer's Report. Margaret?
This one is short and sweet. I'm responsible for balancing the books and to try and access funding for community projects for the area. The accounts we are taking, there's a 10-month account so that we come into line with all of the others. We start on the 1st of April. So balancing these books has been a bit of a trial, and I'm some interest out and I want to get it right. So next month I will have it all spot on for you. The funding for the trail, the edible trail, we've got £2,000, and that's where it's going. It's coming right from the station, St John's Road, Health Centre, Shore Street, Gourock Primary. But I've got some of these if anyone wants to see what. They will begin in November. starting up and sorting out what they need, finishing in about March, but they will also logo all of the pots, etc., with Gourock Community Council on it. So we'll have a visual in the street that will sort of hopefully help people to see what we want to do. We want to start doing community projects, and that's it. And looking at any way that you think we can sort of work with you and the community to get funding for projects.
Thank you, Margaret. Just to note here that we spoke to the council today to seek advice to make sure in terms of the treasurer's kind of items. So there is flexibility built within the system, and that we can revert the decision to approve the independently audited accounts to November's meeting, and that's what we're doing. So Margaret was speaking to the item today, but we're actually approving them at the November's meeting. So just to highlight that fact so that everybody understands what we're doing. But if there's any questions for Margaret, do we have any questions for Margaret? No? There you go, we're going to let off
We
lightly
have to have
today.
reasonably healthy bank balance. So we need
You just
to
glad
make
you're doing it, Margaret. With this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's super. And okay, so moving to number 7, Margaret, are the independent auditors who are doing it for this year, are they happy to be reappointed for next year?
Yes, the independent auditor we have is Robin Wardlaw, who did it last year, and I've spoken to him today. And then another person is an RPS analyst, and it was her that sort of said, let's get them right now,
Sounds like
and move on, and everything for the next one will be crystal clear.
Sounds like 2 experienced independent auditors. So can we firstly propose and second Margaret's report, and then we'll propose and second the reappointment of independent auditors. So for Margaret's report, could we have a proposer and a second, everybody? Proposer from Al, second from Julia. And for the reappointment of the auditors, proposer, Hamish, seconder, Susan. Okay, that's us. Thank you. Okay, now, sorry, I missed something there. I didn't. So, moving to item number 8, that's really just any kind of verbal or written, I'm just looking at there, reports from the subcommittees. So I think with the garden party we will go to first.
Yeah. That's me again, but it's much shorter this time than we took part in several events this year. This is actually more of an event report. Is that okay?
What is the subcommittee? As a garden party is?
Okay, well, we had several events. So the first one was annual tree lighting ceremony, which was held at usual spot on 22nd November 24. Local choirs, local champions, assisted Santa Claus and lighting the Christmas tree. A huge crowd enjoyed it. May 2025, the Community Council hosted a small table at the annual Gourock Highland Games. A rota was put in place to ensure all available councillors could spend a short period of time welcoming people to Gourock and sharing local information. We also had a whiteboard where residents noted issues or concerns or wishes with regards to our community. And in June 25, we hosted the annual Gourock Garden Party. Unfortunately, the weather was nothing short of atrocious. Our small team, however, managed to pull off the event, and we appreciate the continued support of our local Scouts groups and stallholders who participated and various members of the community who helped out. It's very much a local tradition, and we had approximately 30 stalls from around the community. And despite the weather, everyone kept cheery, but sadly the footfall was down by 2/3 from previous years, so our door donations were not great, and this resulted in us breaking even, but only just. For all our events, we appreciate the support of Inverclyde Council and the Greenock Telegraph, who run regular slots in the paper, letting everyone know what's going on. So that is basically the events.
Any questions on that report there? No? Any other subcommittee reports? And then, as I said earlier, although there's office bearer positions, we really do try to work as equally valued community councillors, and everybody does different things around this table. So any verbal reports, please, this is the time to do so now. So that's what I'm looking around inviting. Does anyone want to do so? No, Hamish, there we go.
Well, it's not so much a committee report, but it was gratifying to see that the fence has been repaired in Shore Street. I don't know whether somebody else reported it or not, but I was just in the verge of reporting it and I noticed it. I don't know whether it was Storm Amy that damaged it or not, but it was lying open, so it was susceptible for somebody to throw an incendiary device or throw more rubbish in it. But I noticed it's been sorted again, because they had a door in it, and with a bolt, and the door had been pushed in, and you couldn't get a bolt, because I tried it, you couldn't get a bolt into the latch, and it's been sorted, so somebody else must have noticed it as well.
So this will briefly cover under tracker, but why it's worth highlighting this now is the fact it kind of shows that the people power matters, because Hamish has been so active on that Shore Street issue. He's been at the MSP, he's been at the councillors, he's been all over the place. He's never stopped. And so what was quite funny this time, we actually had to campaign, didn't we, last time, to get a fence just erected. And then, so something happened to the door, as Hamish is right as saying. So I think we've quickly sorted it before there's any more flack coming their way from Hamish and from the Community Council. So hat off to Hamish for that kind of work. So thanks for raising that, Hamish. Any other?
Could I talk about the police and the fire and emergency services and say that I miss having the contact with the police up at the outreach, and for all we did, there were a lot of people coming in to do outreach. It was all of walking there over the time that I did it. What I thought was, what's another way of doing contact with the police? Maybe quarter yearly special issue meetings for emergency services, invite along the fire and the police. But even if it's before the meeting or after the meeting or another day or somewhere else in town, if we did it regularly or changed it to different places or whatever, maybe it would be fruitful for us and give us that wee bit more engagement. I guess.
Certainly would. I think we've got also Andrew, you're blazing all the time with the police as well. Do you want to comment on that as well?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is that under the police's guidance, they have told us the preferred method of engagement. They don't want to turn up at meetings, they don't have the manpower to do it. We're still waiting on an official replacement to the person who used to come to the meetings previous to us. And I have a contact address, which is the one I have to submit all of my queries and questions to, and they do come back to me, which is then when I report to you. So that is our current contact, and that's the method that they've told me to follow.
I think there's probably a bit of both, and this is trying not to turn it into issues. It's really just reporting and our work at this point, but it's actually worth highlighting as well that the return of community police was actually raised as one of the priorities. Now that's going to take a lot of money, and so that's a big thing to do. But maybe there's a halfway house a little bit there in terms of maybe there's something we can ramp up in terms of the community side.
Whether it goes into the agenda or we do a business meeting, I wouldn't discuss.
So we're noting the work of the police at the moment, just there with Andrew, but also that's a comment that I think is probably considered, especially through the priorities, and that's actually communities missed, I think is the word.
Especially as a no police office in Gourock, especially, it's quite important.
Yes.
I mean, I'm feeling all of that back, and I'm not a supporter of the approach. I think it's really distancing as enormously, but I found it impossible to get round. Every time I try and invite someone, I think it will be better. The slight issue was the fact that the person who, I think Geraldine was closely involved with, clearly retired, and they then appointed another lady who very soon after that regrettably went sick. And we're kind of still waiting for her to come back, and the bosses of that sort of operation don't want to step on toes. So we're being very patient about it, but time is marching on, and I'm with you on this. I think there's no personality involved, but
I feel we're missing out on. And we did quite publicly a lot at the time, but sometimes there was stuff that was more, between the councillors and the police, but we were heading it up,
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. It's just,
Right, so we've noted that and we've noted the work and the actual action too. Any other reports or any other questions before we wrap this up? Oh, yeah.
Miniature report on.
Sure.
While I've been the vice chair for a number of years, I've been doing a very sort of a surface level, as in depth as I possibly could on all the different subjects. But since I've now been the transport guy, as it were, it's interesting to see how much your perspective on Gourock as a town, as a polity, as a populace can change when you focus in on one particular area. So it's very interesting to see how everything is all interconnected, but focusing in on one specific issue often leads to possibilities and ideas for other issues. Like, for instance, the bus service, the perennial bus service, which Sandra has run with, is something that applies. It's linked to health. It's linked to economics. It's linked to safety, all sorts of things like that. But I've been. It's been good talking with people as well. We had a resident here who had a very interesting proposal for a ferry service. Mr. Burnley, you may all know, and lots of other people have just come up with different ideas for what we have to do, and I'm very glad to have had this as part of my remit as well, and I just wish I had more to report really, but it's the first year of me being Transport Secretary, and even looking into the history can be quite revealing, like going back to the Gourock Twinsby train line and then the Gourock to Glasgow and things.
No, thank you. And I can tell you nobody researches and writes like Al as well, so I don't like to hear that, but that's, that's it. So thank you, Al. So, I think, looking at the room, that means that we are now moving to item number 9, which is the election of office bearers. I'm going to get out this chair and I'm going to call Janice to come and do the formalities of the chair. Don't be too far.
If you don't know me, my name is Janice and I'm a community development worker who works in the background helping the community council when I can and as required. So, election of office bearers. We shall start with the chair. Do we have nominations for the chair?
I would like to nominate Alison.
Okay. Any other nominations? No. Could we have a proposer? Al, you
I
propose?
propose
I'll
Alison.
second. Okay. Somebody noted that for the minutes. If you're not getting a secretary at the moment.
Oh
Yeah, got it. Was Hamish, sorry, Al, did you propose?
no. I did.
Seconded.
Should I track down Susan?
Oh, yes.
Oh no.
Yes,
Give her a honest bearer.
Let's
Do the
propose
secretary
Susan
and
for
Fred
vice
as the
chair.